Welcome everyone. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's July 4th, 2019, the 4th of July, aka Independence Day. Here in the United States, to everyone out there celebrating, grilling out, fireworks, all that stuff, happy 4th to you. Today we're talking about SBA loans in the cannabis industry. Also new rules for recreational marijuana in Michigan. We'll talk about some of them. And a CEO of Canopy Growth is out. Talk about all that coming up. First, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Grow safe and poison-free. Don't use banned pesticides in the state that you're growing in. Be regulatory compliant. All of these things and more are possible with NatureSide, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Been with us since the beginning. They're awesome. Now over 430 episodes. Go check them out. It's our story by Julia Granowitz at marijuanatimes.org. New legislation could give cannabis businesses access to SBA loans. This is something we talked about the other day. We were talking about inclusion, and in that case it was LGBTQ inclusion into the industry, but there's also a lot of discussion about social justice and including minorities and women in the cannabis industry. And really, the best thing to do, the most efficient way to include everyone is to include people with less money. The thing about poverty is that it cuts through all races and religions and creeds and ethnicities and colors. And we every race that's ever been alive has one thing in common. There's a lot of poor people. And people don't have access to the kind of capital needed, especially to get into an industry like the cannabis industry. So allowing people with less capital entry into the industry is going to do more than any other thing to include everyone from every group, every identification, every creed, color, race, religion, ethnicity, all of them. Because they all have one thing in common: they don't have any money. That's what brings us all together as human beings, is we don't have any money. And we got to get money. So SBA loans, banks, credit unions, the more they're allowed into the industry and the more they feel safe getting into the industry, which federal law is going to have a lot to do with that, then that is a good thing. Newly introduced legislation would provide cannabis businesses with access to loans and loan guarantees to the Small Business Administration if it is passed. The Ensuring Safe Capital Access for All Small Business Act of 2019, well, that's a mouthful, was introduced by U.S. House Small Business Committee Chair Nydia Velazquez, addressing the fact that funding and other traditional means of obtaining capital to grow a business are currently not available to those in the marijuana industry. Aaron Smith, Executive Director of the National Cannabis Industry Association, said in the press release, quote, "By improving access to capital, this legislation will also help level the playing field for entrepreneurs from communities of color and others disproportionately impacted by the failed policies of prohibition, seeking to enter the legal cannabis industry." Basically, what I just said, echoed by Aaron Smith from the National Cannabis Industry Association. Sometimes I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but more people in the industry. That's what we need. More people, more investment, more capital, more people. Keep it coming. That's my advice. This next story from Freep.com, the Detroit Free Press. Michigan has rules for selling recreational pot. Here they are. It's a pretty straightforward title. Then just get to the heart of the matter. Get to the meat of the issue. The state issued long-awaited rules that will govern the recreational marijuana market, allow for things like public social clubs where people can partake in a bowl or an edible, and do away with the asset requirements that have left many potential business owners out of the cannabis industry. Andrew Brisboe, director of the State Marijuana Regulatory Agency, said, quote, "Presuming we get applications on the day we start accepting applications, I would expect we would probably issue licenses in November. They're going to begin accepting applications on November 1st. Under the new rules, 3 categories of licenses will be available. They will allow people to become marijuana-themed event planners, hold marijuana events such as Cannabis Cup competitions. They'll also be able to open social clubs where people can gather to use marijuana, but where nothing else can be sold, such as coffee or snacks. Those categories will need to get local approval. Another big difference between recreational and medical marijuana licenses will be that there will be no capitalization requirements for a recreational license, which could result in opening up to the market to more people. Again, back to the theme that we just talked about. Currently, state law requires the medical marijuana license applicants show that they have assets worth between $150,000 and $500,000 In order to qualify for a license, those high numbers have left many people unable to get a license for obvious reasons. The ballot proposal that legalized marijuana did not include language on capitalization requirements, so the new rules do not include them. So that is a good thing. Again, allow more people into the industry. Why you would have to have a certain amount of assets to open up a business, I don't know. Well, whose business is that? If you don't have the assets to back up your business, you're going to go out of business, and then you're screwed. And that's the risk you run going into business. So why you have to know ahead of time what kind of money they have? What does it matter? If they squander it, it's gone anyway. So what's the point? And why is it your business? Why is your business how much money someone has that's going to open a business? You either want to buy what they have or you don't. And that's it. Last story from Barron's.com. Canopy Growth CEO Bruce Linton says he was fired, but the marijuana stock bounces back. Canopy Growth stock rallied back from early losses the same day the company said Bruce Linton would no longer serve as CEO. Mark Zilkelin, who serves as the other co-CEO with Linton, will remain in his position as the company launches a search for a new leader, which will include internal and external candidates. The board decided today, and I agreed. My turn is over, Linton said in a statement. Mark has been my partner since this company began and has played an integral role in Canopy's success. I think stepping down might not be the right phrase. He said, Linton told CNBC, I was terminated. So a little bit further down, Constellation CEO. Constellation is now a 38% stakeholder in Canopy. Their CEO, William Newland, said in the company's earnings call last week that he was, quote, not pleased with Canopy's latest earnings report. So the person who takes the fall for that is the CEO, in this case, Bruce Linton, who we talked a lot about here on the show. He's been instrumental, in a lot of at least the marketing side of and getting Canopy's name out there as one of the bigger marijuana companies in the world. Where he goes from here, who knows? But that's what happens, in business. It's not like politics, where you can just screw up and get term after term after term. You screw up in business, especially you're a CEO, you're responsible for a lot. That's why CEOs get paid so much, because of supply and demand. There's only very few people who can do the type of job the CEO does. And if you do it poorly, well, you are out on your rear, as they say. I didn't say ear, I said rear. That's right. A little risque on the 4th of July episode. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show. We're here 5 days a week. MarijuanaTimes.org is where you can find us. Also on YouTube, if you search the Marijuana Times. Audio version of the show, Apple Podcasts, search the Marijuana Times on there. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. If you're celebrating the 4th, enjoy. Everyone else, enjoy your day as well. Keep liking and sharing and commenting on the videos and the shows. We'll see you next time, right here on Cannabis News.